Otherwise, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think you can wait for some time and then we can start.
Yeah. In the meanwhile, I had something funny thing to share.
Okay.
So yesterday, one of my friend had come. So we have one team of people who discuss on spirituality. Okay, so there is a tradition in Vajrayana Buddhism called as Pova, which means you can transfer your consciousness to anything you want. Meaning, it's just like Prana Pratishtha. But this is a practice which will help you to move to the next life.
Now, can you tell me transfer to any other person?
Not to any other person. I'll give you a analogy you will understand. So let's say you are in office.
Yes.
Do you know how to go home?
From office, I know how to go home.
Right. So you know, right? Anytime if you are taken, you know you can go home.
Yes.
What if your brain cells are dead? Then what happens?
I don't know. Then it's gone.
Gone, right? So you have no idea where the home is now.
Yes.
Or somebody has hit so badly on the head that you forget all about your past. So then what happens? Can you know your home?
If somebody, what did you say?
If somebody hits you on your head and after some after some time you get back the consciousness, but you are not able to remember anything.
Yeah, with that I can't go.
Yeah, so somebody. So the doctor asks you that you can go home and you don't know which home. There she comes. Good morning, Padmashri.
Good morning, Vilas. Good morning, Lata. Good morning, Bhatt.
After a long time, we are hearing your voice.
Yeah, it's been quite some time.
Now Srihari also has joined, which is good.
But today is the first day my maid also came.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, so let me repeat for the convenience of Padmashri and Srihari.
Yeah.
So the situation is like this. So now let us say you have come to office and we all know how to go home. Let's say your brain cells are dead, like in the case of Alzheimer's disease. Now that person cannot remember anything. Or he remembers whatever random things he remembers. So let's say he doesn't remember to go home. And there is second one where somebody hits very badly on the head and the person falls down and he loses consciousness. And then after some time the consciousness comes and the doctor attends and then they find that he is not responding, not able to remember anything. So which we have heard about it. Now, do you know where your home is? If that question is asked, what does that person do? He doesn't even know where to go. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in that case, do we know where we are staying is our real home? Right now. Do we know where we are going? This is the.
We know where we are going.
Yeah. Do we know where we are heading to? If nobody has hit us on our head.
No, in this situation, we don't know.
Which situation? Right now. Correct. Right now, at whatever age we are in today, the mithya or the illusion here is that we know we are going to come back to the same place. Meaning, if we go out on market or office or wherever we are going, we are sure that we are going to come back to our home.
Yeah.
Now what happens if the person dies and the body is not there? Like what has happened with your mother or Lata's mother or my father and mother, like that. If we were to see, and Sri Hari's father, let's say, or who all of them who have departed, then what happens? How would they search the home?
They lost.
We are also lost equally, right?
Yes.
This was our discussion yesterday. So,
Yes.
okay, so in Vajrayana Buddhism, there is a concept called as Pova, which means you can transfer the consciousness, you being the consciousness, can transfer to whichever location you want to go or whichever loka you want to go. And keep on practicing it so that the death doesn't become a very inhibition or a very serious issue. So we were that one of my friend wanted to know about this Pova, because when my partner's friend in Ladakh, he died few years ago, they had this ritual of 49 days, which is called as Bardo. Bardo means intermediary lives, just like what we call as Atma, or we call it as soul, or we call by whatever name we can provide it. And that moves from one body to another body. So what they do is, what that Lama or the priest is going to do, and actually he should see where the being is, but now that is lost or that is not known, so they do it as a ritual. So 7 days, every 7 days, that being moves from one to another. So there are 6 levels of existence, okay, and they keep on asking that being to take this and take that, don't take this and don't take that, and they keep on guiding it, and it will again become a human being instead of going into the hell realm or animal or whatever it is. This is one ritual, and the practice is called as Pova, which is something to do with transferring the consciousness. Just like you saw one Buddhist monk, one video, right? He came
Yes.
to know when he's dying, and then he prepared himself and all that.
Yes.
And that step-by-step process is there. Okay, so but you need to practice it. You need to practice right now so that you can go to that place and come back, go to that place and come back all the time, so that when the real death comes, just like, you have,
Oh, that is very good. It's a practicing your death almost.
yes, so it is like you have bought another apartment or home or whatever you have built, and you're staying in your home right now. You are going to that place and coming back. And that is your new home, but it's far better than your current home. So that's a practice. So we had this discussion and we couldn't conclude anything, because it is, number one, immediately the religion comes into existence. Number two is that this is something which is unheard and cannot be really known, who can teach it and all that. So we went into topsy-turvy and ended the discussion after around 2 or 3 hours. And then I told my friend that, look, while living itself we are not able to come to conclusion. Now after death, how does one transfer the body from, so the being from one to another? So the reason why I'm bringing this aspect right now is, today we are supposed to start on Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So there should be nothing imagined. Okay, so now what is this Nirvikalpa? I will ask all of you few questions. You can answer whatever you please. Okay. Now, when we say you or I, what does it represent?
Here is a Jivatma.
No, it is the first person and the second person. I is the first person, you is the second person.
Okay, yes.
He or she is the third person. Correct? Okay. Now, is there a person existing, or is it just a language? What do you think?
No, it is a mind, what do you call, identification, this person and that person. Mind identifies.
That's correct. Mind is identifying, but the question now here is that a language or is there a person?
As per mind, there is a person.
No, again, let's come back.
Your mind identifies a person, that means mind says there is a person.
No, I think you misunderstood. My question here is that a language when we say you and I and he or she and all that, or is there really a person?
Okay, the communication is a language, but identification in the mind is person.
Right. So now let's say, let's say you are able to let go of that person. What happens? Through this, you identify it's just a language, there is no person, and you let go of that person. What happens? Anybody else can answer, Lata or anybody. Question here is, if a person can be let off and only considered as a language, then what happens?
There is nobody.
Yes. Slightly elaborating that is, there is no imagination. When there is no elaboration, you are in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. That's all. Don't you feel so that if you remove the person, you will attain peace?
Yeah, so you should remove yourself also as a person.
Yes. Identification is happening due to language. So if you remove the language and syntax and all that as real, not that language doesn't exist. It exists in the loka or jagat. Now if you remove that, what happens? Immediately you will find peace.
Yeah, I think without language, mind cannot
Function.
function.
So that is the first shloka in this 342. He talks about pass certificate for those people who have come into realization and coming into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Now you don't have any person at all, just consciousness, nothing else is existing. If there is language, then there is designation. If there is no language, there is no designation. Everything becomes the same.
Vilas, one question I still didn't understand. Without language, mind is.
No, you try it out. Padmashri, what you do is take.
And me trying it out is very difficult because I know some language or the other. But if you see animals, they also have mind. If you see a small baby, they also have mind. They
Correct.
are also able to communicate.
Correct.
They have mind. They have some kind of thoughts. That is why they are able to communicate it in some language or the other, meaning in
Correct.
some form.
Absolutely.
So in some form, they are. So without language, the mind will still think.
No, the thing is like this. If there is no designation, if there is no you and he and she and all that, you just try it out. So the nirvikalpa is the imagination.
No, that I understood. But no, when you were comparing it with language, it's like.
No, how do you? No, how do you?
Yeah, I was trying to think myself, but then because we know languages, it will automatically come.
Come. Yes. So now every living being. Yes. So including an ant to human being, all communicate through either sign or through language. That is true. And all are consciousness only. There's nothing like an ant is there or an elephant is there or a human is there. All are due to consciousness. If the consciousness goes away from an ant, it no longer becomes an ant. It is just like a matter. So now the question comes, when we say Jagat, what does that include? It includes designation, titles, name, forms and all that, which we've been talking. Now, how does this gets established? This gets established through communication medium. So let's say for some time you were to remove the language.
Language includes symbols and signs
Everything.
and all that.
All that, all symbolization, all visualization. If you just were to watch it, you are come out of vikalpa. So that is the practice.
True.
Yeah. So communication doesn't mean only the language, it's symbolization, everything, whatever expression.
Yeah. No, I was also thinking at the same time, Lata also mentioned, because anything is a language, even sign is a language.
Yes. Sign, shape, symbol, whatever is a language. It doesn't mean that only speaking is a language. So now where is I in that? If you were to remove this. And if there is no I, there is no you. And there is no I and you, there is no he or she. So first person, second person, third person is gone. And you're instantly at peace. All are at peace.
Yeah. So you imagine you're sitting in one room and then close your eyes and then imagine that you are the only one. And slowly it will go off. It's neti.
Yes.
Also, right?
Yes. You don't have to imagine it. Already it is imagined. So you remove the imagination. You are what you are. You tattvam.
Yeah.
There is no language also here.
There's no
Right.
language. That's what I'm telling. There's no language, symbol, sign, expression, nothing. Just the pure self. Without identification.
The moment I comes, everything else comes.
Yes, because you are expressing.
Yes.
So when we interact, what we should do then? Shouldn't we get into the world? Yes. Get into the world. Know that it is just a language and expression. That's all. There is no real person there. And if you are able to do it all the time, then you are in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So the shloka here is Sarvatma Siddhaye Bhikshoho Krita Shravana Karmanah Samadhim vidadhati esha shantah dantah iti shrutihi. Sarvatma, everybody's Atma. Siddhaye bhikshoho, one yearning for liberation has seen that it's just consciousness, there's nothing else. Krita Shravana Karmanaha, who has listened intensely to the discourses of his Guru. Samadhim vidhati esha, Samadhim vidadhati esha shanto danto iti shrutihi. That is Samadhi. This Samadhi, what you are right now, if you were to practice, even for a moment, without expression, without language, without symbol, without structure, without anything, immediately there is Shanti. Dantaha is self-control. So now you can be at peace. The mind doesn't go anywhere now. Mind requires you, me, and he or she. Shall I continue or do you want to enjoy the peace?
You can continue.
So much of silence, I felt that if you want to enjoy, you can. Okay, so the Nirvikalpa is only this much. There's nothing else in that. If you were to give up the language, expression with anyone, and just do it because you have to do it, then you're always in Samadhi. So, example, worldly life says that there should be a wife, agreeable. So, don't recognize there is a wife. Look at the designation and the title. Title is wife, designation in this case also is wife. So that being has some roles and responsibility. So it is going to do whatever best it can do as that role as wife. And another being will say it is my daughter. So it is doing its role of daughter. Then somebody else will say that this is my mother. So then the same being is taking this hat now called as mother, and it will do whatever best it can be done. So one is doing a mother role, a daughter role, wife role. But what is her role as such? Nothing. And none of us have any roles as you, as something you have. So you drop that titles and designations and just watch that everybody is doing the same thing. Because there is no everybody, there is only consciousness. And it takes on role whatever is given to it. So this will be much more experienced if you have Vairagya, Shamadama, Uparati, Titiksha, Samadhana, Shraddha and Mumukshatva. If you can practice the 9 or the Sadhana Chatustaya, then this becomes very profound. It will automatically delete all the title, designation, expression, symbols and this and that.
Vilas, shall I read this one para which is explained here?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's in Kannada. I'll try to read it in English.
No, you say in Kannada only, then we
These
can.
6 qualifications, if it is there with you, then if you are there within your Atma, so to come to that within the Atma, there are 6 sadhana margas. One is prashantate, that the mind is prashanta, that's called shama. Next is indriya nigraha, that is dhamma. Next is withdrawal from this our thinking, thought process, that is uparati, withdrawal of all senses. Then 4th item is titiksha, that is nothing but
Endurance.
whenever there are problems in life, kashta, that time you should never bring down your energy. You should manage without bringing that energy down. So here I have doubt, I'll ask you separately, here only after this. Then it says the Shastras, whatever it is, Guru Vachana, basically this knowledge. In that knowledge, Shraddha. Then after that, the 6th one is, so in Samadhana, that is in Brahman, keeping our buddhi, intellect is fully focusing in that Brahman, Samadhana. And then this Shat Sampat, when you have that, the person who is a seeker, spiritual seeker, automatically he gets a clear vision or path for his next step achievement. So he has to fully focus there. That is nothing but enlightenment. So he can see his own Atma everywhere. And 2 more things required in addition to this. That is, one is Tyaga, that is Bhikshu.
Correct.
Yeah, Bhikshu, this is what I think you are trying to explain. Then these things should come to you through Guru Mukha, because Guru is an experienced person. So from him it should come through Shravana. And Shravana is finally is nothing but your Karmana. You have to do it. Krita Shravana Karmana. Yeah. So in this, all this, my question was, whenever you have some problems, not some big problems when it comes, then it says that the requirement is you should never get disturbed with that. Titiksha. I have seen titiksha is one of the thing which is very, very tough to achieve, because our mana definitely it will start fluctuation during that time. So suddenly it goes down. When you remember this spirituality, it tries to come up. Again your mind goes back to that problem statement. Again it comes down. When the expected result is not coming. For example, somebody is in the hospital, very close person, and the moment that such news comes, his survival is tough. And it is very tough to manage the picture. How to manage is my question. Because this is the 4th item.
So, titiksha is endurance. You have to endure, right? So, who has to endure what now? If you remove the title, it's just like you are a manager in the organization, right?
Yeah.
And the news comes that the project is not performing well and the stakeholder wants to withdraw this project from India and give it to some other country.
Yeah.
Same thing, right? What's the difference between what happens to somebody in your family or what happens in office? They both are same.
Yeah, suddenly in your stomach, that Vaishwana Agni goes, some cool, what do you call it? Feel very cold inside.
Yeah, but
Butterflies.
So why? Because you believe you are a manager.
Yeah.
What if you are not a manager? Then what happens? what will happen?
Yeah, no manager means no problem then. If I am Bhikshu, there is nothing I have lost.
Exactly. So you shouldn't do the designation and title and role for yourself, because you see now the example what I gave. Let us say again, I bring it to wife. So
Vilas, my question is here. Yes, you know very well that after studying all that, you should never come down. But it is happening something like automatic.
No, it is not automatic.
For a moment. So is it allowed and later on it will go back?
No.
Or we should not allow that to coming down.
No, it's like this. But when you are in a good state, like what
Yes.
we are right now, right? We are in a very good state.
Yes.
You practice without designation, without symbol, without title, without anything. If you keep on practicing, even when the so-called bad time comes, there is no bad time now, because there is no good time and there is no bad time also.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
There is only time. There is no bad time and good time.
Yes.
So what is bad time now?
There is nothing called prepared for the worst. That statement is also not required here.
Yes.
Nothing called bad.
Yes. So now you have to prepare for the worst.
So can I say like this? You are like one bird. Because there is no accumulation of wealth, no status, nothing. You are free. All are same.
No, the status and title, designation, everything is in your mind. It is not out there, right? See, somebody gives me a title in the company saying that you are...
Shall I use this way? It is equivalent to an animal mind.
No. You don't go into animal, bird and all that. That they also have their own thing. So now you leave that. Why don't you compare yourself to Brahma rather than designating yourself to be a animal or a bird? Does Brahma has any designations? He creates, but he doesn't have himself any designation, right? Okay, just think in that way. Isn't he the most? Isn't he?
You don't lose anything.
See,
If you think you don't lose anything.
he doesn't gain anything nor he loses anything,
Yes.
right? Now, if you take Vishnu, he sustains things, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at Ishvara, it is said that he will destroy. So, creator, sustainer, destroyer. Correct? Okay, that is Srishti, Sthiti, Laya. Correct. So now if you have a designation, you are created, Srishti. That is going to stay for some time. Sthiti. It's going to go. Laya. So why do you first create to lose it? If you are pure consciousness or Brahman, why should you first create something and then lose it altogether? If you create a title like father, that father is bound to die.
Yes.
You can't do anything, right?
Okay.
But now if there is no designation as father, what will happen now? Is there any birth?
No, there is nothing.
Then would there be a death?
I think this is right.
Yeah, so now can you tell me which is the good time and bad time now?
When you have nothing, all the time is good time only.
No, there's only time. There's no good time. There's only time.
Yeah.
So in time, something appears and disappears.
Yes.
So what's the problem now?
Yeah. So we should look at like a bubble in water. It just comes and goes.
Which is what all scripture says, right? Which is what all scripture says. It is like bubble over water. Nobody can say that there is no appearance, but nobody can say that it is always going to be there. Correct?
That is not permanent.
That's not permanent. So it's anitya, nitya. Water is permanent. The bubble is not permanent. Correct? So the title is impermanent, but the consciousness is permanent.
Yes.
So why do you hold on to title and designation and symbol then? So titiksha here, coming to specific of titiksha, endurance, or resisting the urge to identify. So don't identify. See, the company gives PIP to somebody. Let's call it as wife. Wife has that PIP, says that it has maximum 3 months to stay in the organization. Or husband has 3 months PIP. If it does well, if the body does well, it remains in that organization. If the body doesn't do well, what happens? The person resigns and goes.
Yes.
So in that company of, let us say 4 or 5 or 3 or whatever, one person has gone away. Or rather, one body has gone away.
Yeah, it runs. Finally, company will run.
But company will run, right?
Yes.
So the samsara will keep on running irrespective of somebody is there or not there. See, now Lata's mother died. That doesn't mean that the entire family now is not running. So if somebody is attached to the mother, then what happens? The laya you are not able to accept. So titiksha is for laya.
So reality, accept it. Yeah.
No, reality is what? There is no title, designation, symbol, expression, blah blah blah. All that is not there. If you remove.
So anitya is the reality, correct? That anitya, if you understand with the true sense, that is titiksha.
So don't attach, no? Because if there is a srishti, it is going to have a sthiti for some time. So now the husband and wife got married. So then there was no husband, there was no wife. There was a girl and a boy who got married. And if you see, when the person was in the womb, there was neither a boy nor a girl. And even before, if you see, that was only a sperm and egg, and no idea who came and what came, and we have no idea of that. So if we designate somebody as a wife and a husband, then the title has come, correct? Srishti. It was not there. It is like now bubble over water. It can burst anytime. We can only hope it should not burst. Same thing in the company. They might send anytime, or they might sell the company anytime, or you might quit anytime, or whatever it is. There is always a opportunity for the bubble to burst. But if you think you are the bubble, now that is where you should not do that mistake. Because if there is srishti, it is going to stay for some time, sthiti. So the husband and wife are going to stay till the consciousness has not departed. The moment it departs in one, that person becomes late, whoever gone, and whoever is staying becomes a widow. Or whatever, it's again a title.
Title, yeah.
So where is the widow now? That's a new title. But if the person feels I am a widow, then what happens? It suffers, which is laya. So if you are not in Srishti Sthiti Laya, then you are in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So
what is that? If you
are not in Srishti Sthiti Laya, not
then
in,
you are
then you are in, so then you are in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, because there is no you and I and he and she and this person, that person, nothing exists. You're at the maximum peace immediately. So the practice is only this much, neti, neti, neti. If you were to put, or you want to go by Nirvana Shataka, this is what it is. What Shankaracharya tells in that is about titling. Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chitta is a title. And then he talks about 5 prana is again a title. Just on prana in 5 types is a title. Like that, 5 senses are a title. You remove all title, designation, expression, feeling, perceptions, everything. So seems like all the 4 of you have got Nirvikalpa Samadhi today.
I got a clarity about this.
Okay. So then he talks about the disqualification. Aruda Shaktehe Ahamaha Vinashaha Kartum Na Shakyaha Sahasa api panditaihi ye nirvikalpa ahya samadhi nischalah tan antara ananta bhavahi vasanaha. Again, the problem comes. The title and designation will automatically create ego. So the ego, once it becomes strong, that is, it keeps on identifying that I am. Vinashaha kartum na shakyoho. It cannot be destroyed. Sahasa api panditaihi. So even the wise ones who were once wise find it difficult to win over it. Ye nirvikalpa akhya samadhi nischalah. Those alone are qualified for attaining nirvikalpa samadhi, who have become perfectly calm, and they tan antara ananta bhavaha bhava hi vasanaha are rare exceptions for over countless births. Indeed, innumerable are the vasanas gathered. Now the problem comes when we go back to our work in the office. Automatically the title, designation, work and this and that, and when we finish that work and go inside our home, and wife, husband and son and daughter-in-law and house and rent and paying of bills and this and that comes into existence. We get connected back to it. So the I, that is I and you and me and she and he and all that will start. Along with that, the titles, what each one is going to do, and the roles. And every year we are supposed to appraise ourselves how the role has been done. So maximum amount of people, the youngsters right now, if you look at it, they celebrate their anniversaries, which is strengthening the bond. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but what happens is the mind keeps on fixing itself to that experience. So the ego becomes strong and strong and strong. So it becomes, it's my husband or it's my wife, it's my son, it's my daughter. So there is a possession, even though it's just a title. Just like in the office, there is a senior product manager, senior project manager, director, vice president, and developer, tester, and this and that. We that person strongly believes that he is that developer. And in fact, in some cases, like people working in defense, they would, after they retire, they put ex-admiral, ex-naval officer, or ex-army officer. So they want that title. One is the name and another one is title. So if we are able to let go of it, which is difficult, but if we were to do it, we are in nirvikalpa. Otherwise, we are back in samsara. The mind again comes back with its ego. So that time, the yukti is not there, logic, and samadhi is gone. Samadhi is added by two words, sama and adi, staying in a particular state, that is sthiti. So srishti, sthiti, laya, in the three states, samadhi is the sthiti, maintaining the state, and is also called as yatha sthiti. You maintain the equal state, which is neither going up nor going down. That means there is nothing called bad and there is nothing called good. Then you are in samadhi. Good is a title, bad is also a title, because both are subjective. So the next verse, 344, he talks about total confusion now. Aham buddhyaya eva mohinya yaja itva avrittehe balat vikshepa shaktihi purusham vikshepayati tat gunaihi. So the storm on the sea of ego, as well as mohina. Moha is delusion. Mohinya is utter delusion. Yaja itva avrittehe balat, coupled with aid of wheeling power of the Maya. Vikshepa shaktihi purusham, and it has the power, projecting power. When it produces, what happens? A person comes into existence in front of me. So first me comes and then the person comes. So now I have a family. I am having a family, and there are few members called as family members. They are very close to me, and they are all related to me because now that ego has come. So there is identification. Even though it's a title, that person forgets all about the title, because before marriage there was no wife. He knows it. It's not that he didn't know. But now that he is married, there becomes a designation and title called as wife. Now vikshepayati tat gunaihi. Now this guna, the quality, is filled with utter confusion, because one day the wife is good, or one half of the day wife is good, another half of the day wife is not good, because there are situations, and based upon the situation this wife is going to do some things which might not be agreeable to the husband and might be agreeable to the husband. Just like in the office, based upon the situation, the employee today is very good, or the first half of the work, the employee, that developer or tester or project manager, release owner, or this owner, that owner, whatever the ownership we are giving, company is giving, not we are giving, company is giving, is good because it is meeting to the company's goal and objectives. But the same thing is not happening, then that immediately the person becomes bad, or that employee is again a title, becomes bad. Now the problem, everybody wants to become good, nobody wants to become bad. But it is dependent on the situation. It's not dependent on what that person thinks. So if the commitment is that we are going to deliver a product in next 3 months, and then everybody works towards it, there is no guarantee that it will not happen. There is also no guarantee that it will happen. It depends on the conditions associated with it, the situations associated with it, and then what happens, nobody can predict. But then there is prediction. And prediction, when it is done, creates utter confusion. Just like astrology creates utter confusion, because it's just a approximation. Might happen, might not happen. Nobody can for sure predict that this is going to happen. So it keeps on changing. If it changes in a positive way, then the result is found. If the changes happens in the non-acceptable way, or in a different way, or it becomes indifferent, then the result is not as expected. So the mind gets into confusion, and that's the nature of Maya. So this means logic always has limitation. Why? Because it is dependent on the situation. What works in one situation might not work in another situation. So when we create Srishti, that Sthiti is there for some time because the logic is working. But after some changes are brought into existence by the market, then that software doesn't work. It has to be now given as a release candidate, or a whatever bug fixing, or whatever we want to call, and deliver. Same way in our life, if the situation is such that nobody else has brought a different thing, then it works. But the moment somebody has brought a different one as a requirement, then it doesn't work. So the logic doesn't work. So what logic was working for that situation now has to be tweaked in, changed. So logic itself has a limitation in whatever sense we take. Because logic is involved with ego. The more the logical, the more the egoistic. Now that doesn't mean that one shouldn't be logical. No. But it has limitation because it is condition based and it is situation based. As long as situation demands, the logic can be used. But the situation is not in our control, in that being's control. Like yesterday was a sunny, today it's cloudy. The situation is changed. So what logic can we apply now? Yes, we can say why the clouds came and because of the weather pattern change and all that. But how did that happen? That nobody knows. Then we can say, no, there was depression. Now the question comes, how depression happened? Then we can again give an explanation how depression happens, how water changes, and how that. Then why there is change? No, that is part of nature. So the logic ends there. So everything, when put in a logical spectrum, it makes things good, but then there should be something which is bad also. So the Nirvikalpa Samadhi is about dropping the ego and use it only for requirement. Meaning to say that when we are in the world, use the logic, reason, all that what is required, because it is for the title, the role what we are playing. So if we are playing a role of a abiding citizen, apply the logic for an abiding citizen of that country. Do all that what takes. The moment that work is done, no requirement of the ego, then you are a husband. Use that logic and reason and everything for doing that role of a husband. The moment that work is done, finish. Just like when we come back home from the office, we still don't have to believe that I am a so-and-so title and so-and-so designation. That's not required. So if any office call comes or an email to be replied, okay, I'll wear that cloth of that title designation, and whatever logically I have to think, I will think, which is part of the Mano Buddhi Chitta Ahankara or Ahankara Chitta, and I do the best, knowing very well that there is limitation because situations will change or might change, and the condition also will change. Along with the situation, conditions also change. So that means my reply to this mail and then my reply to another mail are two different things. They are two different events. So that is what I can create as a strategy, which is explained in 345 verse, which we can take it tomorrow. We are already at 9:29.
Yeah. So you have covered which shloka today?
I have covered starting from 342, 343, 344, 3 shlokas.
344. Okay.
Any comments from any others?
No, I'm fine, good. It gave some technique today.
Okay.
Technique, that is a very nice technique.
Yeah, you
and me
you-
and
yeah,
him,
you,
yeah.
I, you and he or she. First person,
Yeah.
second person, third. Try this out. You will immediately have a funny situation.
Yeah, I'm able to realize that. Quickly, there is nothing. See, there is no transaction. If you have something called another person, only transaction and all that happens.
Right. So you are at peace, immediate.
Yes, it gives that.
That's all is Brahman all about.
Yeah.
So Brahman.
Thank you, Vilas. Yeah,
yeah.
good.
Okay, all right. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Yeah, bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, sure. Bye.